Hi everyone and welcome to Quests by Community. You're here with Ricki Spencer, transgender sociologist, and today we're going to be talking with an interesting person, a person that's lived a very incredible life journey and affirmed their true self later in life, something that I can really identify with. Welcome, Penn, to our show. Tell us, Penn, a little bit about yourself. So you live in regional Victoria. What's it like living in regional Victoria?
You got the best of both worlds. You can travel to the CBD, then you can go back home again. I don't like staying away from home, it's anxiety provoking. So it's good to get on the train, go back home.
Okay.
But it's good to head off again the next day.
So tell us a bit about your journey, Penn. What was, you grew up in regional Victoria
Yes.
as a young child?
Yes.
Okay. And so growing up, when did you start to realise that you didn't identify with the body that you were born with?
4.5, 5 I was, and I knew I didn't identify with the body I was born in.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I wasn't comfortable with that, and I knew it was something that has been around. It's not going to go away. It's not ever going to go away.
But what was that feeling like? Tell us like an incident, like say when you were, do you remember the first time your mum made you wear a dress and that feeling that you felt?
It was always a terrible feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible. Mm-hmm. I hated it, and as I aged, I got into like 8, 10, 12.
Mm-hmm.
The harder it was for my mum to put me in a dress, because I would just rip it off, tear it off.
Oh, okay.
Rip it off. It was rags. It would...
Oh, okay. So what about school? Because when you're starting school, because you would have gone into school in the 60s, would that be right?
Yes,
Primary school? Yeah?
Yes.
And was your school one that you had to wear a uniform?
Primary school was not, but I was always sent in a dress.
Oh, okay.
And I was very, very uncomfortable. Secondary school, yes, that was a uniform job only, and that was a tunic or a summer dress. And that was very uncomfortable. But I made myself come to terms with it. But it was like I was crying inside.
Oh.
I was just crying inside. It's not me. This is not what I want to be.
I can relate to that feeling. So for me, when I had to go to an all-boys school, the uniform to me was like, when I put those clothes on, I always said it was like a character I was portraying, that wasn't the real me. So
Yes.
I'd be wearing these clothes, but it wasn't the real me. And I would try and get through that. And every day was a struggle. Like I remember counting the hours till I got home. What sort of techniques did you do to get through each day at school?
I've got to say, I counted the hours too. I literally counted the hours. And I'd kid myself, no, this is not me. This is just not me. This is someone, but it's not me. I'm not there.
Was there any safe space for you in school, like the library or somewhere that you could go and sort of be yourself for a little bit of time? Or
given the clothes I was wearing, there was nothing safe at all about that. However, the library and the gymnasium, they were my places.
Oh, okay. So tell me, what was the library like for you? Like for me, it was when no one was looking, because I had the card, this was before pre-computers came. I would be trying to see if I could find somebody like myself by looking up the cards. Did you do anything like that, trying to search to see if you can find anything about transgender or transsexual or anything of those sorts of
To be perfectly honest, Ricki, I thought it was me. I knew I just wasn't right in the body I'm in. But I thought it was just me. Back in the 60s, you were looked upon, like Mum would tell me, oh, you've got to get out of this, it'll become an illness.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And it just didn't feel safe, and I just felt problem that I have is it's just me. It's only me. There's no one else has got this issue.
Oh,
I
okay.
thought I'm alone in this one.
Did that make it harder for you to make friends growing up?
Absolutely. See, I'm also neurodiverse. I've got autism, so that didn't help. And the whole thing was a lonely experience. It was, very lonely. And I spent a lot of time by myself at school, at both schools. But again, the gymnasium, the library, they were my go-to places. It didn't fix the problem, but it was a way of hiding from the pain.
I found that too. I found for me, it was the library. And I remember I could just sit there in peace without hearing any negative words come my way. And I knew that I couldn't be attacked in any way because the library was patrolled.
That's
and
right.
I remember I'd always get in trouble for going in the library because you weren't allowed to really go during, I think it was lunchtime and that, but I just always made an excuse that I had to be in the library because I knew that if I was in that space, I could not be got to or attacked. And at least I used to see it as my way of reserving my resilience, although I didn't know that word then. So when I have to go back to class for the afternoon, I had enough energy and to deal with anything that would come my way to the end of the class.
The library wasn't so much out of bounds for us. Secondary school was mostly with the library part of it and the gym. That was secondary school. That was my safe place. Primary school, it was very difficult because there was no such getaway. Yes, I'd just spend time in a corner somewhere by myself, watching all the kids at play.
There's something about that, isn't it? We're watching the world go by and wondering, how do people make friends? And when you're neurodiverse, it's a really difficult thing to understand. How do they do it? What is friendship? Because I never understood that, and for me, I'd watch a lot of television. Did you at all find television a way to cope through?
No, I hardly ever watch TV. I'd like to be active. I'd get home and I'd just go help feed the cows or go do stuff on the farm. A lot of it by myself, but I was busy.
So you kept yourself busy?
I would keep myself busy just to stop the anxiety, to slow it down. Yes, just to be with myself and be myself, be me, be the real me.
Oh, okay.
The first thing I'd do when I got home from school, out of the dress.
Yes.
Straight away. I didn't rip it up. I thought that'd be a bit much.
Yes.
But when I was going out places and I had to wear a dress, no, there was a commotion.
And how long did that sort of last for you?
Oh, it went right until fourth form.
Okay.
Yeah, into my intermediate secondary school years, I'd be the same. And then after that, for a while, that short while, it was all, I gave up on that and I became more my own boss. What I wanted to wear.
Yeah.
I moved out of home to go to university.
Okay, so tell us a bit about that. So you did your final year, and what sort of made you decide to go to university? Because you grew up in a farm and you always had a passion for farm work. Did you not want to pursue farm work?
I did for many years want to pursue farm work, but I also knew, believe this or not, I also knew when I was 5 or 6, I looked at the sky one night and I saw the Southern Cross and I thought, I want to go to uni. And I'm going to go to uni.
Oh, okay.
That was way back, 5 or 6. And that was my goal right through my school years. But at the start of secondary school, that was an all-girls school too, so that was very hard going. And I thought, didn't want to be here, I wanted to be back on the farm. That went on for 3 years. And it suddenly dawned on me, if I keep going like this, I'm not going to get near university.
Okay.
I won't, there's no way. I've got to put my head down.
So that's interesting. So for people listening to this right now, and maybe a young person's listening and struggling, like we had to, what was it that shifted you in thinking rather than being disengaged, we call it now in schools? What got you? How did you change your mind shift?
I look back and, no, I want to go to university. The work on the farm's not going to go away.
Mm-hmm.
And I was gradually getting some interest in the schoolwork.
Mm-hmm.
It was becoming a thing. I just wanted to get places. I did want to get high grades, but none of that's going to happen unless I get serious about it and start
doing something. Okay.
Yeah, working properly, not wanting to stay home all the time.
And what subjects sort of grabbed your interest? Like, what did you feel you excelled in at school?
All the language subjects.
Oh, okay.
I was useless at math.
I think I can't still do it.
I still can't do the basic math. I can do the difficult stuff, but the basic math, I just, yeah.
You're right. I'm the same, and I struggle now. And people say, "But you do all this," and that. I say, "I know. I don't understand. I still can't get left and right."
I can't,
and I don't understand, and I get really muddled with the basics. You're right. Bigger concepts I do. So similar to yourself. So when you did your final year at high school, where did you want to go? Like, so what university sort of grabbed you, or what you? Because you lived out in regional. Victoria.
Yes.
Were you wanting to go to a university, say, in the city region, or did you want to stick to something closer to home?
I didn't have a lot of choice in the matter. It came down to where it was easier to go somewhere where it's easier to get to on public transport. So I ended up at Caulfield, the Monash campus at Caulfield. Well, you just get off the train, you walk across the road round the corner and there you are.
What course did you enrol in?
Did a Bachelor of Arts. It was mainly English literature, language, subject, sociology, politics,
Fabulous.
communications. I think I did a unit of for statistics and I didn't enjoy that. So that was the end of psychology.
So tell us, what was it like going into the university space? Because all of a sudden you left your school, your familiarity with people. You could become whoever you wanted to be. How did Penn emerge in university?
That was a lot easier.
Yeah?
I was a lot happier.
Yeah?
That's where I started to live my life
Okay.
and feel me.
Oh, so what does me mean to you, to Penn, when you started university?
Well, I'm not running around in dresses and I can be, more masculine and do what I like. I can behave the way I wanted to behave. I'm not saying I wanted to be a rebel, but I didn't like having the, I suppose, the sexual expectations. Didn't want to have to, like, women normally do this, women normally don't say that, and that sort of thing. Stereotype.
So that all sort of shifted for you.
It shifted.
Okay.
I was more my own boss.
Were you able to kind of meet other people that felt the same, or did you get involved in any of the LGBTIQ politics? Was there anything, queer groups or anything at that stage?
There was at least one that I was aware of. I found out about it because I co-edited the newspaper in the final year, and that was really my first exposure. And I'm thinking, and it was more about being gay, being lesbian.
I found in the 90s, for me, nothing about transgender. There was very little in the rainbow. There was mainly binary, I would say. Lesbian, you're either lesbian or gay.
That's right. That's what I found. I didn't come out until, like, this decade. Sorry, it's now 23. It was last decade. I was, 2016. Before I actually came out and started making a move towards sorting myself out and really being me.
How did that feel at that moment, Penn, when you woke up or you've gone to bed and thought, you know what, I'm going to finally affirm myself?
Well, it was great in one way. I thought, this, I have to do it. It just came to me. It came to me with a thump that I have to affirm myself.
Mm-hmm.
And my doctor was absolutely sensational. And I've got a friend that I made. It's absolutely sensational too. There's 2 or 3 people in my life who were great with me coming out. I was supported all the way with them. Mum and Dad are deceased. So
Did you find you wanted to wait till after they deceased?
I had to.
Mm-hmm.
I had to, especially my dad. He wouldn't have handled it. Well, wouldn't have liked it. Might have handled it, but not liked it.
I just want to go a little bit back because I'm interested. When you finished university, where did you go in terms of employment?
I worked at head office, 67 Spencer Street for Railways.
Oh, okay.
Did several years there. And then Mum became ill and I became bored sitting in an office all day. And 2 o'clock I was ready to go to sleep, had my work over the road, I just wanted to go to sleep.
So tell me, in those days, like, I mean, it's like those days, I remember them, but for our audience, there was no gender affirming policies at work. There's probably no even understanding of LGBTIQ.
No.
So how did Penn work in the work? Was it like, for me, it was like going back to school in one way?
It was. I could say the exact same thing. It was like going back to school. And my second job was like going back to school too, because although I was wearing the clothing I was happy in, I was still in the closet.
And I found it hard for me, but toilets, was that an issue for you?
Oh, yes. Well, I've had security come up to me a couple of times. Yes, I've had some unpleasant, embarrassing moments.
I think that's something that for people to realise is that, you know, throughout the 80s, 90s, and even now, sometimes, you know, something that many of us people take for granted, but for some of us, it is so integral to our well-being that we find a toilet that we feel comfortable in.
Exactly.
And that space is so sacred to us.
It is. It is. If you can't find it, a comfortable spot, then yes, it becomes quite a difficult exercise and a very uncomfortable one.
Penn, did you ever feel that you could open up to anyone throughout your working life, or did you put on a barrier to protect yourself?
No, it was the barrier. There was no one to whom I could really open up to at all.
During your work time, I mean, you would have worked at a period when AIDS became an issue.
Yes.
Yeah. How did that impact your work life? Like, did it make you feel like you had to be more careful what you said because you didn't want anyone to have any association with you at all?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it did. Yes, it was a bit unpleasant, a bit difficult as to know what to say, where to be, anything that might have given away who and what I am.
Did you ever experience or witness any like direct homophobia in any of your workplaces that you saw?
I don't know about direct, but more the mind game sort of things.
For me, it was like there'd be subtleties that people would say in the cafeteria, you know, or the break where they watched something on television and they said, oh, those gay people deserve getting AIDS. Like those sorts of things I had to deal with.
I heard a lot of that. It would reduce one to tears. I can't for the life of me count, even try to count the times that I found myself just boiling the head off inside.
For me, when I was working, like the travelling going home was like sometimes my safe element. It reminded me of like going when I was at school, where going home from a place, I always felt relief.
I did too.
Yeah. What was that like for you? Because you were working in the city and you're living in regional, and it would have taken a long time travel. Did that travel time help you sort of come to terms with things?
Yes, it did in a way. It was a more relaxing time, peaceful time. I could get myself out of my head a bit more. But I was always wary of what other people in the carriage were thinking. I had this problem that I thought, it's only me and all eyes are on me.
So how did you deal with that? Because being neurotypical, did you try to refrain from giving anyone eye contact?
Yes. I didn't really know that I was neurodiverse till quite later on in my life. And I went and did courses like night school to study it, to find out. And I found out that making eye contact was a very difficult thing.
Yeah.
People like myself. So I try and watch that now. And then the hands, I took to sitting on my hands for a long time.
You're right.
Just stop using that.
Oh, well, I'm always using my hands.
hands.
I always like using my hands too, but I now see that I see them as gifts. That's how we are as people. And now moving forward a bit, Penn, I want to go to that moment where you made that decision for having surgery. What was it that you think kind of made you come to that realization you had to have that surgery? Is it something you've thought about for a long period of time?
I'd heard of sex changes right back when I was, prior to 10. I had to go and do that. No, wait. But my doctor was very helpful there. And yes, I was too chicken for about, when I first started going to the gender clinic, we were talking about hormone therapy and top surgery. And I remember going, because I've got a fear I've never been under, never been under general ever. So I had a big fear of that, and I said to my clinician, I said, no way, no, not as pleasantly as this, but no way, you're not going to get me to have any operation, that sort of thing. Anyway, a year or so down the track, that all changed. It just changed, and I thought, I've got to get this done.
Okay, so your mind shift. Now, did you decide to go and take testosterone?
No, that took a bit of doing too, because I would always second guess myself just because my past was so, to me, was so lonely, and I felt I was the only one. I thought, am I doing the right? So you'd second guess yourself. But no, I ended up doing the hormones, and then I ended up doing the top surgery, of course. And that was probably the happiest day of my life.
Oh, that's incredible. And did you go into the city to have your surgery?
Yes. Yes, I came down here, and they were at the hospital. They were just so good. They were so good, because I was as anxious as all get out. That they were just so kind. I came straight to, and gee, I was happy.
That elation feeling that that all of a sudden you didn't have to have that reminder.
That's right. I was so happy. That's one of the. I was just so happy. I couldn't believe my anxiety's gone and everything.
What got you through to thinking, yes, I think that works for me?
Just listening to my inner instinct. Yeah, like do it. Don't let any more time go by. Don't second guess it. Make your mind up.
Yeah.
Work towards it. Do it.
Oh.
If that's what your gut instinct is telling you, do it. And that's what it was for me.
Okay. And what about in terms of the support? Being in regional Victoria, did you find support groups in there, or did you have to seek that out in metropolitan?
Metropolitan.
Okay.
My doctor's regional, and she was, still go to the same one. Fantastic. And my psychologist, my everyday psychologist, he's regional. He's fantastic. But as for making friends and that type of thing, I started out metropolitan, but now I find there's a bit of a group up where a bit further on out from where I live.
Oh,
and
fantastic.
I'm involved with them too.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I remember meeting you, Penn, at the Victorian Pride Centre. What has the Victorian Pride Centre mean to you?
I'm going to answer this in a very weird way. I'm going to speak of it as if it's another human being. It's one of the best friends I've ever had. It saved the day. It's made me day. It's my life now. I love the place.
What's it like going to the Victorian Pride Centre for you?
Very happy experience. I look forward to it. I look forward to it. And I don't always admit it because I'm scared to admit to something that makes me happy. But I'm getting better at that now, and I admit it, and I'm saying I love the joint. And it's just my happy place. It's a safe, happy place.
Being in my 50s, mid-50s, I never thought there'd be a time in my life that I could go to a place, be myself, dress myself without people judging me.
I know the first few times I went there, it was just so, people were so accepting of me. And I didn't know what was happening. And I knew deep down that this is a place I love. This is a place I really love. But I'm trying to make sense of why everything and everyone was so accepting of me there. And it's never been like that in my life before.
Tears of joy.
That's right.
That you finally have found your space, your worth.
Now, nearly a year later, I'm doing 3 volunteer jobs down there.
And what could you tell if there are other people listening at the moment who are, say, older and feeling a little bit isolated? What would your advice be to them?
Take a trip down to the Pride Centre if you're feeling a bit lonely and isolated where you are. Go for a trip down there and see what it does for you.
Now, as we're about to finish up, Penn, where do you see yourself in the next, say, 5 to 10 years? What would you like to achieve?
I'd like to see myself where I'm in a situation where I'm helping others with the same problem through the Pride Centre, where I shine best. Yeah, just introducing people to the Pride Centre.
Okay, that sounds lovely. Penn, it's been beautiful chatting with you, and I hope that a lot of people listening really take note of how much giving to the community and really embracing, say, like if you're in Melbourne or even regional, coming down to the Victorian Pride Centre, getting involved. It does change lives. It's changed your life.
It's changed mine all 100% for the better.
There you go. It's Ricki Spencer signing off for Quest by Community, and till next time. Thank you.